The antique grandfather clock in the Witmore estate study seemed to mock Amelia with its merciless ticking. Its golden pendulum swung in deliberate rhythm. At the oak table, she sat small, fragile, her fingers trembling over the thick ivory, divorce papers. Tears blurred her vision, chest tightening with dread. "Sign it." The voice was cold. Across from her sat Margaret Witmore, regal, untouchable. Every pearl and quill iron curl arranged with precision, yet lacking any warmth. "You've embarrassed this family long enough," Margaret continued. "Sign now, and leave quietly with what dignity you've still got." Amelia's breath caught. No softness in her words. She looked pleadingly at Daniel, standing by. The tall window, poised but distant. His jaw was clenched, his eyes steely. "You've made this harder than it needed to be." Amelia's throat closed. She fought through the pain of losing not just him but her family, her career, the life they'd built. When she dared meet his gaze, Daniel looked away. Margaret leaned forward. "You were never right for this family or this world. Sin. Take enough funds to disappear." The pen hovered. Fear, shame, pride. Then a whisper, "You'll show them one day." With a final silent breath, she signed. Margaret smiled faintly. Good. In that moment, Amelia realized Daniel would not stop her. His back was turned, his silence louder than any words. She left, head bowed, clutching her coat against the cold. Broken but not defeated. Asterisk to winters past. Since Amelia walked out of the Witmore estate with nothing but her name and the echo of her own defiance, whispering, "You'll show them one day." She didn't just survive, she transformed. The woman, now standing at the edge of the Witmore estate gates, wasn't the trembling wife they discarded. Her tailored cream suit fit her like armor. Her heels clicked with precision. Her posture was regal, unflinching. Her hair, once loose and soft, was now swept into a sleek updo. A subtle diamond glinted in her ear, quiet but undeniable, and at her side stood a man whose presence halted conversation before he even spoke. Richard Monroe. The name alone was enough to make seasoned CEOs sweat, but to the Witmores, until today, he had been a ghost. Amelia's father, billionaire, private, powerful. Inside the Witmore boardroom, Daniel sat in silence, his once sharp features now dulled with fatigue. Margaret sipped her tea, knuckles white around the porcelain. Their world was unraveling. Investments had soured. Influence waned. Monroe Holdings had the power to save or bury them. "We need this deal," Margaret said, voice brittle. Daniel nodded. "They'll come. They have to." The doors opened. Every head turned. Amelia walked in. Margaret's hand froze mid-air. Daniel's breath caught. The room was silent. Amelia's gaze was cool, sweeping over them with no hint of malice, only measured strength. Richard walked a step behind, his every movement deliberate. Margaret stood, her voice cracking the silence. "Richard Monroe, why now?" "I came to speak on behalf of my daughter," he said smoothly. "But mostly, I came to listen." Amelia stepped forward. Her voice was low, steady. "You pushed me out, mocked my silence, measured my worth in etiquette and pedigree. But you forgot the one thing I had, that money never buys." Her eyes met Daniel's. He looked down. "You believed I'd crumble, that without your name, I was nothing. But I built something better myself." Daniel spoke, voice brittle. "Amelia, wait. I made a mistake. I let her talk me into it. She raised her hand. "Love doesn't stand silent when you're being erased. It doesn't retreat when tested. You watched me drown." Richard pulled a leather folder from his briefcase and placed it before them. "Effective immediately. Monroe Holdings assumes controlling interest in Witmore Industries." Margaret gasped. "You can't," Richard cut her off. "We already did, but we'll keep you on as advisors. The past must learn from its mistakes." Amelia smiled faintly, her eyes locked on both of them. "Consider it restitution. for every woman who was ever told she didn't belong. As she turned to leave, Daniel called out again, voice hoarse, "Amelia, please. I never stopped loving you." She paused just once. "Then you should have fought for me when it mattered." And with that, she walked out, heels clicking like a judge's gavel, closing a chapter written in blood, betrayal, and rebirth. Twilight painted the sky in gold as Amelia stepped onto the balcony of her father's penthouse. The city skyline sprawled before her like a conquered empire. Lights flickered. Wind kissed her cheeks. She stood alone, but never lonely. Her phone buzzed. Subject: congratulations. Amelia Monroe, you're now CEO. From Board of Directors, Monroe Holdings. She didn't smile at first. She closed her eyes, exhaled. Then, slowly, a tear rolled down, this time not from pain, but pride. 2 years ago, they'd stripped her of her name, her dignity, her future. They thought they'd erased her, but they never saw what she carried in silence, legacy of strength. A father waiting in the shadows until she found herself inside the penthouse. Richard poured 2 glasses of wine. He walked over, extended a glass. To the daughter they underestimated, Amelia accepted, and to the father who knew I needed to learn to fight on my own. They clinked glasses. "You could have saved me sooner," she said, voice soft but searching. "I could have," he admitted. "But you wouldn't be the woman you are now." Amelia looked out at the city again. "They treated me like an outsider. But it was never about me not being good enough. It was about them fearing what I could become." Richard nodded. "And now they get to witness it." Elsewhere, the Witmore estate sat dim and defeated. Margaret stared out a window, fingers twisting, her pearls haunted by the silence that now filled their once bustling halls. Daniel paced alone, staring at his phone. Amelia's number lit up but unsent. He knew it was too late. He remembered her final words. "You watched me drown," and he realized he'd let fear become his compass. Now he lived in a world without her, where success had no taste, and power no warmth. Back in her penthouse, Amelia scrolled through a photo album, old wedding pictures, laughing snapshots. She paused on one, a candid of her and Daniel mid-laugh. So young, so hopeful. She didn't delete it. Instead, she whispered, "Thank you for teaching me how strong I had to be." Then she opened a new folder on her computer. Witmore transition plan. She clicked begin. Outside, the wind stirred again. The city didn't know it yet, but a new name was rising. Not attached to a husband, not silenced by a legacy, just Amelia Monroe. And she wasn't asking for permission anymore.